Okay, little by little, we're just going to start placing our different objects into the scene. So from the original game, we have speakers that bounce and arrows fall from the sky and lights that move around. So we're going to start putting those things in. Let's just start with the speakers. Okay, we're going to put the speakers that will actually bounce when they play. And if you look at the scripts here, you'll see that I have these in the code. I already have these spaces here for a left and right speaker. So we just need to create those is all. And they're going to be game objects, and once we have them in here, we'll drag them into here. So let's get the art for it. And I had some questions about how do we do that, because people set up their whole scene like this, and if we want to get each item individualized. So what we're going to do is select one of these speakers, and you're just going to go edit copy. Going to make a new document, and Photoshop will know what size you just copied, and so it'll already set the size for you. Let's change the background contents to transparent, and then hit create. And if you didn't make it transparent, you would have a white box here, and then you would just need to turn that layer off. But now that we've copied this speaker, you'll notice it's in the right size. You just go edit paste, and your speaker's there. Okay, I'm gonna turn this layer off. Just if that was white, you would turn it off so that it would be not visible. And now we're going to export this as a PNG and save it into a folder that you'll know where to access it. Let's go speaker. I think I already did this, so let me make sure I'm not overriding. So I got a speaker there. I'm going to call this speaker left because I don't have that written yet. Okay, so once I do that, I created a file in my documents folder. I made a folder, and there it is, my images that I just exported it to. See, speaker left. And then in Unity, you simply drag it into your assets folder, into this arts folder. So I'm going to go back to Finder, and then just simply drag. I'm going to do the original one. It's just called speaker. And drag it in there, and you have to select it and change. So I have selected it in the assets folder, get the texture type ready for sprite and 2D, and then you're going to make sure this says single. Sometimes it says multiple. If you have set this up for like a 2D game, it'll do that, and hit apply. Okay, and then I think you could just simply drag this onto the stage, and look what it does. It creates a sprite renderer for you with the speaker on there. I'm going to show you a different way to do that. You could just right click over here, say create an empty game object, call it speaker, and then add the sprite renderer component and drag this into here. So that's two different ways of doing the same thing. And there's your speaker. Okay, this tool here can move things around. I'm going to put it in front of this one and enlarge it. Let's do the scale. Say let's make them really big. 2. Okay, so I got this big speaker here, and now when we go to scripts, I can drag this speaker into the speaker left slot, and when we push play, the code will just take action and make that speaker bounce up and down. Why? Ooh, that is one of the weirder things I've ever seen. I don't see it in the game view at all. Let me see. Let me save this. What is going on? Oh, you know what? Okay. This speaker, look at this. I don't see it on the stage. Why not? Well, let's see. Let's take a look. Let's, if I click this stage background, it's at 0. Let's see. Let's go into 3D view. Let's see. It was behind the stage. Do you see that? Okay, so why was it behind the stage? Well, the stage and it were basically, they were at the same Z coordinate. Okay, so the stage is at 0 going forward and back, and so is the speaker. So we could control it this way. We can move it in the negative, actually, because going forward is going off into the distance. Or if we wanted to, we could keep it at 0 and change the order in the layer. So they're on the same layer, and if I make this number higher, they're all at 0. It's kind of a preference thing. You can move them up on the Z-axis. So let me go back to 3D, when I am in 3D mode. So if I grab this blue arrow and move it forward, you'll notice that this Z coordinate system, because we're on an XYZ coordinates, 3D world, you can move it forward and back. It's kind of neat, right? So if you want it to look like it's, in the background, you can move it back. And you could pick either or you could do both. You could do the order and the layer and that. Okay, so now when I push play, you'll see the speaker bounce up and down. That was actually a pretty good learning moment, so I'm glad I had that little interesting take. Okay, so now let's, I could do this. I could just copy and paste this speaker, Command C, Command V. Let's call this one speaker right. And then in the scripts, I will drag the right into the right slot, and then I will move it over. Whoops, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Speaker right, I will grab it and move it across. Okay? And if you want everything like nice and balanced, you can like look where this one is and you say, oh, it's on -7. You could copy, you could say, how about we just make it a round number, -8. And then you could take this speaker and say it's going to be on the 8. So now that's balanced, and looks like my background might be off center, so I'm going to make that 0. And then I guess I stretched it a little bit further right, or my speakers were misaligned in the original graphic, I guess. So now when I push play, the left and right speakers should both be bouncing. Okay, and there you have it. Is there a speed? Did I make a speed thing? Bounce height. I have these like little things, numbers you could play around with here. I made these little slots for you, and you could adjust those numbers and see what happens. So I'm going to make the height. They're going to bounce a little bit higher now. Okay, so have fun with that, and yeah, make your speakers, put them in there, and then we'll move on to the lights and everything else next. Okay, have fun.